Most creators think that success means publishing more content, more episodes, more videos, chasing the downloads and the views, just feeling like you always need to feed the online monster in order to build your brand and gain any real traction, right? Do you feel this way? Because if that's you, this episode is for you, my friend. I am the host who loves you the most, Ozil, and I want to welcome you to the Creator Factor podcast. And today we're going to dig in. We do have a solo episode ready to rock with you. This topic is something I've been thinking about, especially if you feel like the doing more is the right answer to having your next big breakthrough. I'm going to challenge you a bit, okay? I'm all about challenges. I'm all about challenging myself. I started producing more content on here to challenge the way we think as content creators and to think about your content creation differently, because more doesn't always equal better, doesn't always equal moving the needle in the right direction. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about this a lot more and have looked at other successful podcasters and creators, looking at some of the people that I really appreciate and admire online, and even coaching clients myself and noticing the different approaches. I've experimented a lot and I've noticed things that actually work and things that don't work. And I've realized that doing better and different is really the shortcut to your creator success, period. Okay. Let me share with you a story of where I really started seeing this. When I was looking back and I was like, all right, let me challenge the way I think about my own content creation. Because you hear some of the gurus out there saying volume, volume, volume. No, there's definitely a season for that, especially if you want to kind of put in the reps. I get that. But there were times in the past where, I thought that volume was the key to success, right? Just posting nonstop, being top of mind, staying relevant. And that only led me to creator burnout, just really overextending myself and putting too much on my plate. There were times where I was just publishing like daily, weekly. I mean, I was really consistent and I was able to get some traction, no doubt about it. I remember when I first launched PodHouston, which is my local podcast community here. Shout out to PodHouston. We were doing monthly meetups. I was doing the weekly episodes, doing the blog posts. I mean, I was super active and it was great to build traction, but it just was not sustainable. And I felt like in order to grow the community, I needed to do more meetups. And I've realized there was a moment where I was getting burned out. The community was growing, but it was just, we were still seeing the same people. And then, there would be churn and we'll see some new faces. And, it was an amazing experience. And I really enjoyed doing the meetups because that's something I really enjoy doing. But in this case, I realized that it wasn't about doing more. It was about being more intentional and figuring out what would be more valuable to my community. And when I pulled back the curtain and started doing things from an intentional approach to say, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make this different? I started doing less events and my attendance started growing. And as a matter of fact, my email list specifically started growing when I was a bit more intentional about less frequency and more quality. And that was the thing that really moved the needle for my community building. And as a content creator, I've seen this with creators who are successful that just pull back and like, I'm not going to publish all the time. I'm going to go to maybe 2 episodes a month or maybe 1 episode a week. That's it. I'll repurpose the content and I'm going to figure out key moments within the hero content to be able to make sure that it's high quality. I've experimented even with a client where we took regular automated AI shorts and instead of volume, and again, we got traction, we started really focusing on like B-roll and really high quality shorts. And it was transferred. I mean, you saw it. It was day and night. You got to see that the quality shorts that were intentional with moments and really mindful of like, okay, let's make sure that these shorts are like really valuable. They're not just like cutting up shorts and just random talk. They were like really like there was a great takeaway here. Those really scaled versus the ones that were just aimlessly just being published. They were good for viewership and relevance, or not relevancy, but just viewership and just traction. And there was some growth benefit to it. But the ones that really grew and really blew up channels and distribution platforms were the ones that were really intentional about the quality. All right. So I wanted to share this because I do feel like there are three things that can help you as a content creator just shift your perspective. Again, I want to challenge you to start thinking about this differently. Whether you're starting or you have a podcast or you have a YouTube channel, is to think about these three things. Number one, better brand, better branding. 30 beats noise. I would challenge you to revisit your brand, find your message, and simplify your positioning. And if you look at those elements within your branding, again, just refining your brand, just really looking at it, it's like, does this really convey the message I'm trying to put out there, right? Refining your messaging, but also, again, simplifying your positioning. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in a bit, but just simplicity, right, is what makes a brand remarkable. The second thing that I would challenge you to look into and be more intentional about, instead of publishing more, let's talk about how can you attract not just an audience, but the right audience. Okay, let me repeat that for the people in the back. Not just creating content to just attract an audience, but to attract the right audience, the right connections. So instead of chasing more listeners, trying to go viral, trying to get the numbers up, all the vanity metrics out there, I challenge you to think about building the right connections with the right people, deepening those relationships with the right people, period, right? And that's what I like to focus on moving forward. And I know that when I was intentional about, even when I was doing the meetups, sure, there were beginner podcasters out there, but I was really trying to aim for the independent podcaster that has invested and we're really involved in building a true podcast brand, not just a podcast. It weeded out the hobbyists. And again, no shade on the hobbyists. Like I get it, but I was looking to attract podcasters that were really building brand and building a real community with their platform. The third thing, last but not least, is better monetization strategy. Okay. What are you talking about, Oziel? Well, what I'm talking about is, remember when I talked about simplifying your offers, your positioning? Don't just add random offers. I'm trying to get better at that. Real talk. Like I've offered a lot. I've done in the past masterclasses, webinars. I've done, meetups and in-person labs, workshops, and I've done it all. I've had a bazillion coaching offers that I've refined and I've changed over time. But it was when I started looking inward, and I'm doing this right now. Like, I want to be honest with you. Like, it's always a work in progress. And that's another thing that I want to side note here for my creator out there, you that's watching or listening to this. Know that you're a work in progress. You are a work in progress. The evolution of you being a content creator that's building a brand and business, there's stages and there's levels to this. And you are constantly evolving, even to a point to where you feel like you may have found success. There's a next level to that. So we're always a work in progress. We're always learning new things. Now we're living in this era of AI. So we're always learning, right? So that's always going to be a mantra that I'm always going to shout and preach to my fellow content creators, is the evolution of a creator and always understanding that we're always in work in progress. I digress. So let me get back to the monetization, is improving that one core offer that solves that one problem. That's it. Let me repeat that. Improve that one offer that solves that one big problem. That's a better monetization strategy. All right. So if you can focus on those three core elements, that's what I'm going to challenge you to do more of, rather than publishing more content. Better brand, better audience connection, and better monetization strategy. Those three things. Those are your action items, my friend. And I do believe that if anything, not only will be a game changer for you, but it'll shift your perspective on like, okay, let me just focus on improving the product, improving the platform, improving the podcast, the YouTube channel. One of the things that I love about Apple products, love or hate them, and one can argue that it's taken them a minute post Steve Jobs, rest in peace, to innovate and really do different things and improve, but they're always making some kind of improvement. The camera, the look, there's little small pivots, little small improvements, but they're improving, right? Whether it's speed, it's memory, it's better battery life, but they're always trying to focus on improving something better. Nothing massive. And I think that's one of the things that Apple has done in comparison to Android and Galaxy phones, is that Like they've really, like Galaxy phones, I mean, they evolve quick. I mean, they're doing some massive improvements. Apple products, they like just do a couple little tweaks, but yet they're the most in demand. Apple stores are always packed. Microsoft stores, not so much. But Apple culture, community, and people will line up to buy their products. Was there last week? Their new iPhone 17 Pro off the shelf, sold out. So again, small improvements. They're not focusing on more features, more features, more features. No, Apple is just looking to improve just a tad bit, tighten up that demand, and again, better brand, targeted audience, in their monetization strategy. They're focusing on their core signature product and they sell out. The Pro Max sold out. And that's how they're successful as a brand, as a tech company, but you can also relate that as a content creator. All right. So, in conclusion, the path to growth isn't always about adding more, it's about making better moves, standing out by doing things differently. Shout out once again. I feel like we're going on Apple. Apple Store is always about think different, and then showing up with intention, being intentional about the moves that you're making to improve more value or better value, different experiences to your audience. That is all I got today, y'all. So hopefully you got some value. I know I kind of went on a tangent about the Apple, but that's where my brain went today. I'm passionate about this. I feel like there's a lot of things that I'm thinking outside the box in regards to what can we do as content creators with so much pressure to create and make more noise. Not the answer. Focus on doing better, focus on doing different, and you will see your creator brand grow. I promise you. All right. Thank you again for checking out the podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, check out all the other shows, leave a comment. If you leave a comment, it lets Apple, I'm thinking of Apple. It lets YouTube, you're watching, listening, it lets YouTube know that you're interested in this type of content and you will get more of it. So make sure you hit that notification button so we can stay updated on all the latest. And of course, if you're listening to this on your favorite audio podcast app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, Pocket Cast, Overcast, any app out there, thank you. I appreciate you very, very much to have me in your earbuds every week, every Wednesday, brand new episode. Thanks again for the love. And remember to always give yourself permission to do the work that matters as a content creator. Until next time, peace and one love.